So I'm on the phone with my sponsor. This is like 20 years ago, and I'm whining and whining and whining. I'm saying, you know what? The whole point of my call was I say, why can't I find people like me? I just want to find 5 people like me. And you know what my sponsor told me? He said, Randy, that's the problem. You did. Because I had sponsored, I got into business for 3 reasons: to make money, to make money, and to make money. I mean, that was just flat out, that's the only reason. I've been poor my whole life. I hated being poor. I wanted to be rich. So I got in this business because I wanted to make money. So I looked at everyone I could recruit as how much money could they make me? And when are you going to get to work and start making me money? So of course I brought some people into business and I called them up every day, and basically what I was saying, using different words, was, what are you doing today to make me money? Because I need money. And they of course duplicated what their sponsor was doing. Is they'd find some people and they'd call them up and say, what are you doing to make me some money? That is not going to take you where you want to go. And that's not professional. So let's talk about professionalism, because that's really what this chapter is about. I call this a profession. Now I know we can say that network marketing is an industry. There are companies who are in this industry, but you and we're not in an industry. We're in a profession, and we need to take pride in that profession. Just like people study to be an accountant, or they study to be a lawyer, or any other kind of profession, that's what we do in this profession. We become students of the profession. So I want to talk about culture for a little bit. We're going to get to the start it, and then we're going to get in deeper in another module down the road. But let's talk for now. What is culture and how is it set? And here's what I would say is culture is how people act when they haven't been instructed in a specific circumstance. Something comes up. A prospect says something, a team member does something, and there is not a specific thing in the training manual that tells them what to do. So culture is a way of behaving. So we set culture in different areas. And like I said, we've got a module coming later in the system where we're going to talk about 10 different areas that you want to create culture in. And that's what's going to drive huge depth in your organization, a true duplication, and have really well-trained, honest, ethical, professional people who are really building a very strong business for themselves and as a result for you. But I wanted to talk about the professionalism part of it here early on in the platform, because I think ethics, which we just talked about in the recent module, and professionalism, they're really what set the foundation for all the skill set stuff we're going to do later in the platform. For now, though, I want to focus on this and make sure we all are on the same page for this. So what does professionalism look like in our space? Let me give you some examples. Copyrights are a perfect example. One of the professional things to do is to honor copyrights. All right, so whether that's music, whether that's video, whether that's a book, we need to honor copyrights. We want people to honor the trademarks and copyrights of our products, right? If you've got a product for your company, you don't want someone knocking it off and selling it under a fake label. Well, we've got to extend the same respect to everyone else, whether it's a book you read that you think is great and you want everyone in your team to read it, or it's a CD or audio program or something, we've got to honor the copyrights. And here's the other thing where this comes into play: your marketing materials. Because here's where I see new people fall down, and I don't want you to make this mistake. And obviously, a lot of what we do these days is online. A lot of it's audio files and video files that are online, and we're sending people links, but there still is a place for printed material. I mean, and I don't think that'll ever go away no matter how much technology develops. There's still things like product catalogs that are gorgeous, 4-color, beautiful texture paper that people hold in their hands, and it motivates them to want to get those products. And there's going to be CDs or DVDs or things like that. And when you hand somebody a CD or a DVD, I don't want it to say Sony or Samsung or Pioneer or whoever sells those blank CDs. I want it to say the name of your company, because I want it to be a professional CD that you bought from the company that has a beautiful packaging and is designed for that prospect. That shows people you're a professional. So make sure all of your marketing materials, whether it's brochures, catalogs, CDs, DVDs, whatever it is, make sure all of your marketing materials are professional. Talk about cross-line, right? It's kind of, we all get little sibling rivalry. We're all competitive. So we all like to talk about how great our team is, right? And a lot of us have names for our teams, and there's this group and there's that group, and everybody's proud to be in this group. So sometimes we think, well, maybe we just need to tear down that other cross-line group a little. That's not professional. If somebody from another line is up there on the stage at the convention and they're doing a speech or they're doing a training and they finish, I want you to be the first person to jump to your feet and clap in wild applause and respect for what it is that they contributed to the event. No disparagement cross-line. It's not professional. Same thing. Let's talk about other companies. When we talked about this a little bit in the ethics chapter, if you remember that. It's never professional to disparage other companies. Now here's where this is going to come into play. You're going to say, well, wait a minute. We're all competitors. Coke competes with Pepsi, and Pepsi competes with Dr. Pepper, and Ford competes with Chevy, and Chevy competes with Chrysler. And I get that, and I understand we're all competing in the same space. But let's go back to what we said earlier in another chapter. We can fight over one slice of the pie, or we can say, let's make the pie bigger. Remember, we still got 6.8 billion people around the world who are not in network marketing. So we don't need to tear down other companies. We just need to get out the positive attributes of our company. Now, here's what I'll go this far, is I will say there is such a thing as fair market differentiation. So if you've got a product with 22 grams of protein and somebody else has a product with 21 grams of protein, okay, if you think that that's a valid case to a prospect and you want to make that distinction, I think that's professional and ethical to do that. If you've got a car bonus of $1,500 a month and someone else has a free car bonus of $1,000 a month, so your prospects are going to get $500 more, I think that's a fair market differentiation. But we can do that with professionalism. We can do that with respect, just as you see in any other market where they will compare with another product and say, well, if you look at, when the cable companies versus the satellite companies, and they compare how many shows can you record at the same time and how many can you store, and can you play in different rooms. Hey, that's a valid, fair market differentiation. And we can do that without disparaging other companies, but just showing the added value of your product or service. The other thing we should talk about is the venues you're in. Are they professional? Where you're holding your events? Punctuality. Do they start on time? How do people dress? And again, I'm not about making dress codes. Your company, maybe everybody wears suits and ties. Your company may be a casual company and people are wearing polo shirts. You may be a home party plan company and people are dressed in a certain way. But you know what? You can always dress professional at any level. Whether it's a polo shirt or a three-piece vested suit, your clothes have to be clean, they have to be ironed, your breath has to be fresh, your teeth have to be brushed. If you have hair, it needs to be styled or combed. Take a look in the mirror before you go out of the house and say, do I look like a professional? Because here's the thing. The people you meet at your opportunity meeting aren't really your prospects. Your prospects are the people you meet all day, every day as you're going around your life. When you're picking up your dry cleaning, when you're taking the kids to soccer practice, when you're waiting in line at the movie, any of those things, that's where you're meeting potential prospects, and they're looking at you and making decisions about you. And when you approach them about the business, It's the impression that you've created. So just look at, what's the professional look that you're maintaining. And here's kind of the litmus test that I learned from a friend of mine many, many years ago. He said, look at the most successful people in your company, who's ever, the top distributor, and look at how do they dress? What are the marketing materials they use? What does their office look like? How are they on punctuality? How clean is their car? All of those things. And say, do you dress as nice as they do? Do you have the same kind of marketing materials, the same kind of everything, right? And great. I mean, maybe you can't afford, they're wearing Louis Vuitton and you're just starting. I get that. But again, you can be clean, you can be pressed, you can be professional. So here's the key thing about culture, and particularly professionalism culture. It comes by modeling the behavior. You go out and you demonstrate how to work this business as a professional, and that's the behavior that your team is going to duplicate. So when you go out there and you become a true professional, you're going to find, and you're going to call up your sponsor and you're going to say, I want to find 5 more people like me, and you will, and they're going to be professionals.